He thought he was alone. The interview was over. The questions had stopped. So he stepped away. But there's a problem with that, because his microphone never stopped recording. And what comes after that doesn't stay outside the case. For his position to hold, one thing had to remain true. Nothing directly tied him to the act. No admission, no recorded statement, nothing the system could isolate and point back to him. If that stays intact, there's space. Because without that, everything depends on interpretation. People focused on other things: his behavior, how he spoke during the interview, or the way he reacted to certain questions. Some thought it was suspicious, others thought it meant nothing. But none of that decides anything, because behavior can be explained, it can be reframed, it can be argued, and as long as something can be argued, it doesn't close the case.
Kill them all, of course.
The recording. Not the interview itself. What happens after? Because once he steps away, believing the moment is over, he continues speaking. And the system continues capturing it. No interruption, no reset, no separation between on record and off record. Just one continuous recording. If nothing connects him, the case stays open, because everything can still be positioned as interpretation. But now, the system's holding something different. A statement that wasn't prompted, wasn't structured, wasn't shaped by questioning. And that matters, because now the system isn't evaluating how he responds. It's evaluating what exists. And what exists is fixed. Now, there are only a few ways out of this. First, his words are taken out of context. But context doesn't remove the words. It only tries to reposition them. And here, they still exist in sequence. Second, the meaning is unclear, but the structure of the statements doesn't drift. They point in one direction, not perfectly, but consistently. Third, it wasn't intentional, but intent isn't required, because the system doesn't evaluate why something was said, only whether it was said. And once it's recorded, it becomes a part of the record. And once it's part of the record, it doesn't leave. And this is where it tightens, because this isn't just a recording, it's an unguarded one. There's no question attached to it, no pressure shaping it, no structure controlling it, which changes how the system treats it. Because now, the statement exists without external influence. It doesn't respond to anything. It stands on its own. And that creates a kind of different constraint, because now you're not dealing with interpretation. You're dealing with presence. The words are there, unprompted, unfiltered, and fixed. Here's what the system removed. It removed denial, because the words exist. It removed reinterpretation, because the recording is fixed. It removed distortion, because the audio can be replayed. It removed distance, because the speaker is identified. It removed separation, because the recording is continuous. You see, there's no break between the interview and what comes after. So what's left is ownership. At this point, the case was no longer open-ended, because there's no version of events where those words don't exist. They can't be excluded. They can't be repositioned outside the timeline. They can't be separated from the speaker. So the defense loses movement. There's nothing left to adjust, because the system isn't interpreting him. It's replaying him. He thought the moment had ended. That part never changed. But for the recordings, they never stopped. And once an unguarded statement is captured inside the system, you don't get to decide what happens anymore. Because now, The case isn't built on explanation. It's built on what already exists. And what exists doesn't move. It doesn't adjust. It doesn't disappear. And once you hear it, you can't make it fit anywhere else. That was The Fatal Detail.